On July 30, 2018, a member of the staff at the Turtle in Nikko, Japan, opened the door to room 202 and found everything exactly as it had been left. The bed was made. The luggage was unpacked on the stand. The passport sat on the desk. The return flight home was still booked and paid for. There was no note. No message. No explanation. The guest, a 36-year-old French woman named Tiphaine Veron, had simply ceased to exist. Japan would not investigate. She has never been found. Tiphaine Veron was not the kind of person who disappeared. She was 36, organized, and deeply curious about the world. She held a degree in art history from the University of Poitiers and had spent years teaching herself 2 foreign languages, Russian and Japanese, not for career reasons, but because she wanted to understand the places those languages came from. She worked as a school assistant for children with disabilities. She posted cheerful travel updates online. She called home from every city she visited. She had booked her return flight before she left France. She was, by every account available, a careful, self-sufficient traveler who had prepared this trip for months. On July 27, 2018, Tiphaine landed at Narita Airport. Japan was the destination she had been building toward, the country whose language she had spent years learning. She traveled alone, which she had done before without incident. Her itinerary was clear: a few days in the Nikko region, a UNESCO World Heritage Area of shrines, forests, and mountain paths 2 hours north of Tokyo. She checked into the Turtle in Nikko on July 28, arriving between 4 and 4:30 in the afternoon. The inn was small, well-reviewed, the kind of guest house that attracts solo travelers. Nothing about her arrival was unusual. That first evening, Typhoon Jongdari was moving through the region. Tiphaine stayed in. She had dinner, settled into the room, and waited for the weather to pass. She was not anxious. She had a full itinerary ahead and the storm was forecast to clear by morning. This is the last evening for which there is a clear and uncontested account of her movements. She was calm. She was rested. She was looking forward to the shrines. By morning, according to the hotel, she had left. According to her own phone, she had not. July 29 began normally. Tiphaine was photographed at breakfast at 8:41 in the morning. It is a simple image, a woman eating alone, not remarkable in any way. That photograph is the last confirmed visual record of her alive. The hotel manager would later state, under questioning, that she left the inn at 9:53 a.m. This detail became the foundation of the Japanese account of her disappearance, the last known data point, accepted for years as fact. In July 2025, French investigators recovered phone geolocation data that placed her device inside that building until 11:40 in the morning. 1 hour and 47 minutes that no one has explained. She did not arrive at any shrine. She did not board a train. No security camera in Nikko captured her. No witness reported seeing her on the street. No transaction was made on any of her cards. Her phone, the same phone that had been pinging a cell tower near the hotel until 11:40, went silent. Not switched off in the normal sense. Xavier Niel, a French technology billionaire who later provided forensic assistance to the family, concluded that the device had been violently disabled, the battery was removed or the phone was physically destroyed. Whatever happened that morning happened inside that hotel, or immediately outside it, and it happened fast. When staff opened the room on July 30th, they found it undisturbed. Passport on the desk. Luggage on the stand, clothes folded inside. Return flight booked and paid. Japanese police were called. They searched the surrounding area. They interviewed staff. And then, finding what they determined to be insufficient evidence of a crime, they closed the matter. Under Japanese law at the time, a missing adult, without clear signs of violence, did not automatically trigger a criminal investigation. Tiphaine Veron was classified as a missing person. The case was not treated as a crime. That classification would not change. Japan has maintained this position for 7 years. To understand why Japan did not investigate, it helps to understand the legal structure that governed the response. Japan does not automatically treat a missing adult as a criminal matter. Without a body, without witnesses to a crime, without physical evidence of violence at the scene, the default classification is voluntary disappearance. This framework is not unusual by international standards. But in Tiphaine's case, it created a critical problem: the first 48 hours of investigation, the period when forensic evidence is freshest, when surveillance footage has not yet been overwritten, when witnesses remember details, were spent on a missing persons search rather than a crime scene response. By the time France formally requested cooperation, those hours were gone. France opened a kidnapping investigation in 2018. In July 2020, the family hired Jean-François Abgrul, a former French gendarme with a specific reputation. Abgrul was one of the investigators who, decades earlier, had helped build the case against Francis Holm, one of France's most prolific serial killers. He was not an amateur researcher. He was a trained professional with experience in how predatory crimes are structured, how perpetrators operate within communities, and how geographic patterns emerge across individual incidents. What Abgrul found in Tokaji Prefecture, the region surrounding Nikko, was not one isolated incident. It was a pattern. 15 bodies recovered. 33 documented sexual assaults. All within the same geographic radius. All within the same general period as Tiphaine's disappearance. 15 minutes from the Turtle Inn, along the forested path toward Takanu Jinja Shrine, there had been a man. Japanese police knew about him. He was not a licensed guide. He had no official role at the shrine. He approached female tourists, offered to walk with them, and made physical contact, touching them in ways they found unsettling or threatening. Multiple women had reported him. The behavior was documented. In 2019, a warning sign was posted near the shrine, alerting visitors to this individual. But the man had not been seen since January 2018, 6 months before Tiphaine arrived. The shrine is on the route she had marked in her itinerary. He has never been publicly identified. He has never been found. In the weeks after Tiphaine's disappearance, the Nikko region produced a sequence of discoveries that investigators and journalists have never been able to definitively connect to her case, but have never been able to dismiss either. August 9th, a human skull found near a railway line in Nikko. September, 2 women found with slit throats in a parking lot. October 9th, an unidentified body recovered from the bank of the Daya River. December and January, human bones in the surrounding forest. January 2022, a dismembered body found in a suitcase. These incidents occurred in the same small tourist town, within the same few square kilometers, over the same years that Tiphaine remained missing and the fake guide was unaccounted for. Back inside the hotel room, luminol testing, conducted during the initial response, reportedly detected traces on the wall consistent with blood. This finding has never been confirmed publicly. The forensic results were not shared with the French investigators. The hotel manager, the last person confirmed to have seen Tiphaine alive, and the source of the 9:53 departure time that contradicts the phone data, has not been formally named as a suspect. He has given statements. He has not been charged. The contradiction between his account and the geolocation data recovered in 2025 has not been resolved. No one has explained what happened between 9:53, when he says she walked out, and 11:40, when her phone says she was still there. By 2023, the case had reached a level of diplomatic visibility that is unusual for a missing persons investigation. Tiphaine's brother Damien gave a press conference at the Foreign Correspondents' Club of Japan in Tokyo, a venue typically reserved for major international news events. The French government had formally requested Japanese cooperation multiple times. Éric Dupond-Moretti, who would later serve as France's Minister of Justice, took on the family's case pro bono in 2020. And the United Nations Committee on Enforced Disappearances, a body that deals with state-level accountability, had already issued 3 formal demands to Japan. By June 2025, that number had reached 5. Japan acknowledged each one. Japan cooperated with none of them. 7 years later, here is what is known. Tiphaine Veron checked into a hotel in Nikko on July 28, 2018. She was photographed at breakfast on July 29. Her phone was in the building until 11:40 a.m. The hotel manager says she left nearly 2 hours before that. Her belongings never left. Her passport never left. Her phone was destroyed. A man who preyed on women near the shrine she planned to visit had disappeared 6 months earlier. Luminol found something in the room. 15 people died in the surrounding prefecture in the following years. And here is what is not known: where she is, what happened in that hotel, whether the bodies are connected, and whether anyone will ever be held accountable. Damien Veron has spent 7 years asking questions that governments have not answered. The family's website, find-tiphaine.com, remains active. The investigation remains open in France. Japan has not moved. If you want to follow the case, or if you have any information related to Tiphaine's disappearance in Nikko in July 2018, the link is in the description. And if this is your first time here, this channel covers the cases that get forgotten. Not the ones that trend. The ones that should have been solved, and weren't. Subscribe, and we'll keep looking.